there's been a few games that you would play, in my childhood or whatever. As soon as you play it, you're like mesmerized, you're like blown away. Final Fantasy, the first one, Doom, Wolfenstein 3D, and the Super Mario Bros. 3. There's just things that are just immaculate and just like instantaneously when you play it that this is just almost like, as far as like your gaming career is like life changing or whatever. I know that's kind of dorky, but that's what I feel about Clair Obscur Expedition 33. This is nothing short of a masterpiece. It is definitely going to be talked about for years and years to come. It's not like the next Tetris or whatever, but in terms of like quality and what it brings to like the JRPG genre, even though it's a French. We'll talk about that in a second. But this is a must play, and is almost certainly my game of the year, and probably one of the games of my generation. I'll have to compare this probably to Baldur's Gate 3. It is up there. It is to the moon, and I know that people who haven't played it are kind of getting tired of the people who keep talking about it, and they're just getting annoyed that they keep hearing about this damn game. But it's worthy of all the praise, and you have to deal with the trolls that come with it. But it is fantastic from like a narrative standpoint, from a character standpoint, from like the story. The graphics are insane. They're amazing, and they run pretty damn good for an Unreal 5 game, which have lots of problems normally. But this thing seems to be fairly well optimized, at least my system. That's what I'm hearing about. Other ones, I don't know how the consoles run. The gameplay is impeccable, and I love the way they have this kind of this picto system where you kind of build up your passives and skills, and then you can slowly keep putting your Lumina points into your character. And you can unlock all of these little passives, and it's just a great system, and it's just, you can sit there and fiddle with it hours. You can come up with all kinds of amazing custom stuff from it, and it's great, and it's amazingly enough done by like 30 to 50 people. Ex Ubisoft employees made this. It's like Ubisoft. Yeah, as soon as they got out of Ubisoft, they made something incredible. Like, it's something to think about. There's a lot of talking about how effectively Microsoft has promoted it and put it on Game Pass and whatever, and marketed it, but it's effectively an indie game that's just amazing. It's amazing for what it is, and it's like just the music's getting to me right now. But it's one of those things that you really, really need to get this. I can't emphasize it enough. I didn't write down any notes of what really got to me, but it's up and down the line of like anything you don't talk about is great. But the only thing it doesn't have is multiplayer. But everything else is just impeccable on, and I do not want to spoil much anything. I'm only showing stuff that I pulled from like my first hour or two when I actually got into the expedition. But they hooked your ass in immediately. And I remember when I first saw this at some Microsoft game show conference or whatever, and I'm like, this is blowing my damn mind. And then when I later on heard that it was going to be kind of like a tribute to Final Fantasy X and was it Lost Odyssey? I'm like, oh, if they pull that off, I knew they was going to hit something. And yeah, they played the game that people wanted, and I think Final Fantasy's really dropped the ball over honestly the past 20 years. But if you're a Final Fantasy fan, this is the one. This is the game. This, in my opinion, is superior to any Final Fantasy game, period. And I'll even throw the other ones, some of the old ones out there too, because while those are phenomenal, they had problems with, like, say, difficulty and whatever. Well, this game more modernized, you can have a lot more control of your difficulty. As you go in, I played on hard, and as you go in, the enemies can like attack you, but you can dodge everything. Dodge or block everything, provided that you time it right. And just adding that little bit to it puts so much into it, because you have to stay focused. You can't just mash the A button and queue up attacks, not really thinking like you can on a lot of Final Fantasies. But you gotta keep on it, and you're looking for those attacks, and you're kind of just like an action game like Dark Souls. You're learning the various patterns of attacks. They will absolutely try to trick you into dodging when they won't not supposed to, so they can hit you. and you're kind of playing this sort of like meta game almost with the monsters to try to figure out how to beat them out. And there's other kind of cool things, like you can aim your gun and stuff at them, and there's not too many, but there'll be like things where you can aim for weak points or things that are moving around, and you just try to get them. And this with this sort of like Persona style menu that kind of changes around, changes the camera angle as you're selecting things. It gives this like intense action feel, and once you've got the buttons, you kind of pop them in, and it almost feels like a combo. And there'll be on top of that, there'll be time hits and other things that are added for each skill will have its own little time hit that you can add to it to get the bonus. And then you can turn it off if you want to. I liked it. It kept me engaged, because a lot of times you'll be playing these RPGs and you're just kind of grinding, and you can almost tune out. This is not one of them, although you can make some really broken stuff if you go in there and really think about it. You can make some broken stuff and just theory craft all kinds of stuff. I never even looked up anything. I didn't want to know what other people were doing, but it was just something that was, I just kept fiddling with it. And as we got deeper and deeper in it, like tons and tons of like side bosses and things that you're not supposed to, but they allow you to go to anyway before you're supposed to. And it's like, if with the logic of, if you could dodge every hit, even though you might have to fight this thing for like 10 or 15 minutes to be able to do enough damage to kill it with your weak character, you could dodge all these insta kill moves, and you feel like amazing when you hit it. I've heard the streamlined content you can be done if you just go through the story. You can do it in about 30 hours. That is not what we did. We stuck our nose in every nook and cranny. There's a bazillion secrets in these areas. They usually take an hour or two, the main story areas, to go through each one. There's a cool open world as well, or overworld, where you kind of walking through, and there'll be all kinds of secrets and crap lit in there, and you'll have to find ways to get to things, and you'll get different little modes of travel. I don't want to go into the spoilers, but it'll be kind of like some of the classic stuff you expect of Final Fantasy, where this open world comes more opened up as you go through, and then there's things that you couldn't do before because there was some badass enemy there. They'll kind of give you a warning before you go in an area. They'll put danger that you're not at the level it is. Just go back later on and whoop its ass, and you feel good, because especially something that you might have struggled on and you thought you could do, or it really embarrassed you, you can just go back and whoop its ass with some ridiculously like super god tier character pal, and it's just it feels great. And there's so much stuff to do. I was at 70 hours when I beat it, and on hard, and there's still a ton of things that I missed. I've looked for them. I missed it, and I think I hit most of the big high points. But there's stuff we missed, and we missed 1 or 2 uber bosses that were a little bit of struggle. We don't want to go into that. We might have to go back later on. I'm almost certain we'll play through this game eventually again. It's got the new Game Plus and all of that stuff. And there's a lot. If you just want to run through this thing at 30 hours, that's fine. But if you really want to dig into it and get the meat into it, it's there. And the story is phenomenal. I can't tell you hardly anything about it, but it's great. And I don't know I'm sure we're missing stuff we're going to talk about, Brian. But this is something that's a must play, and I think the retail price is $50, but even at full price, this game's way better than anything else that came out this year. And so it's an easy recommend for me, and in fact, it's a must recommend. It's like, why don't you have this? And then I've been calling people out, and people have been mad at me because we're gatekeepers. It's like, if you're not a real fan of RPGs if you don't play the Clair Obscur game. I'm being that asshole on the internet. That's me, Brian. That's fine. But so Lord Kittens McBride is giving this an impeccable paws up from a presentation standpoint, from a music, graphics, what you're expecting in a JRPG. Amazingly, a lot of French stuff, like little mimes and stuff. It's got what's that damn? Is it Amale's haircuts in there? A lot of stuff where you know, like just they know it's like Mimi stuff, and they just kind of go into it. And Eiffel Tower and all that junk is in there. and it's freaking great. It's freaking awesome. What else? What else? Brian raised his hand on everything. He can't even think about all the stuff he raised his hand on to. But it for everything of what you're expecting from a super AAA quality game, it's done by these indie guys better than the AAA people could ever do it at way cheaper and with way less people. And everybody else, BioWare, if they even exist, I think they're already shut down. But they should be embarrassed by putting out crap like Dragon Age when this kind of game is also coming out. But, whatever. We ain't gonna worry about that. I'm sure there's been tons of YouTube videos about stuff like that already. But Goonie went all in. We went all in and just could not freaking stop, messing with our pictos. That huge RPG system, it was so great, and we became real Gustum fanboys too. We love Gusty, don't we, Brian? Yeah, we do. And we love Lune. We made her into a super duper blow up the whole screen instantaneous battle bitch. It was freaking great. Just floating through Lune, through the areas, just floating, not even doing anything. It's just with the music, and then the graphics is just it's impeccable. They nailed the atmosphere that they wanted to hit so damn well. And so Goonie's throwing the paw way up. We got 2 paws up, kitty. Brian's looking at me. He wants to get back in my lap. But this is almost certain a game of the year and the GOAT, and it's truly special. Truly is. Thank you.